This isn't just a college football game.
Number 1 Clemson visits number 4 Notre Dame. And here come the Irish.
This is the paw print versus solid gold. Dabo versus Kelly.
My name is Fire, Fury, Power. My name is
Kyron Williams might go.
Legend.
Touchdown. Uiagalelei firing deep ball downfield. Touchdown.
This isn't just a college football game.
Touchdown.
This is
TC and Jake.
You know it's a big deal when they get Ice Cube, dude.
I'm going to allow you that one.
Like there's a question?
I'm going to allow you that one.
I get the rest of the year to be in my zone.
Asterisk?
No asterisk.
Okay.
He did fucking line the horns up against that guy. He's the third best quarterback in the goddamn country.
No, look, it was a fun game. But, you know, I definitely feel like they're going to not only lose the ACC championship game, but someone's going... I'm interested in how the committee treats COVID. You get this sometimes...
Yeah, you know,
like,
Jake, they might. But they fucking won on Saturday. So these hypotheticals aren't that interesting to me.
they're just so boring.
You thought that was boring?
No, the game was fun. They're just a
Okay.
boring team. I like Baby Gronk.
Baby Gronk is... What do you mean it's a boring team?
It's just boring.
Jeremiah Wusu-Koromo is the most exciting defensive player in the country. I think that's... How could that not be more clear?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't care that much, though, to be honest.
I mean, I guess running and stopping the run really, you know... why would football fans like that, Jake?
All right.
Go watch fucking basketball. You're boring.
I probably will at some point. Having
Some more-
chips in my teeth?
More suited... not that I can see.
Okay. Had some chips.
Oh, congratulations.
Stopped to get a water and some fuel on the way over. And thought,
A couple Doritos.
That's looking pretty good over there.
They have the nacho cheese flavor built in? I don't even have to apply cheese to them?
They did, yeah.
Wow.
Which goes a long way with my, like, I can't tell you the last time I bought a candy bar.
Yeah, I mean, it's been at least a week.
Are you still banging candy bars?
Nah, not as a regular thing, but certainly more frequently than whatever it sounds like you're talking about.
Like when we had leftover Halloween candy, we just threw it all out.
Ah, no.
It just doesn't do much for me. And I was thinking like last night, a couple hours after dinner, that little late night hunger. Most people probably go ice cream.
Mm-hmm.
I just reheated more lasagna. And I think
Gross.
it seemed gross at the time. Again, I think that my penchant for just more sauce, spice, meat, cheese, carb, although this one was no meat, it's just any time I'm thinking about having sweets, I'm thinking, but I could just have a fistful of rotisserie chicken.
I mean, that's obviously not true.
Why?
Sweets affect the satiety response differently. This is all up in the you're wrong about obesity. Very good stuff.
Sweets affect the what?
How hungry you are. You don't get like if you're hungry and
Makes
you eat
less hungry
sweets
later.
Well, no, if you're hungry and you eat sweets, like you're still gonna be hungry. Like everyone knows that. Your mom will tell you that don't eat that Crunch bar for lunch. That's not gonna work.
Yeah.
So like I know when my stomach's full because a lot of times I'll smoke a big bowl and then go find it.
Yeah.
And you can add sweets onto that way more than you can add like a fucking piece of lasagna onto that.
It's a couple pieces. Because I find that like in the health game, like in the not even diet, but like fitness foods, it's way too concentrated on giving people shit that tastes like dessert. Like that's a way more popular angle for that. Like obviously you kind of have to do it for protein shakes. You're not going to sell cheese flavored whey,
I
but
don't know.
if
Give
you're
it a
listening,
thought. Yeah. I think you definitely have different taste buds than the regular populace on. Like obviously I like sweets more than they do, but I think they're closer to me than you. I don't
agree.
fight for that and everything. Yeah.
I agree. And that like if they made like pastrami muscle milk, I would drink one in the afternoon every day.
Sounds so fucking gross.
And it's it's always chocolate.
Have you ever
obviously
thought about
the big
bottling
one.
up soup?
I think I've probably done that, but I think that was mostly just whenever I was taking it to the station, like for overnights, and didn't have. See, that's another problem. What am I? How are you supposed to microwave soup at work? Like you can't. I mean, whatever bowl you put. Like
I don't know that that's true.
okay, so
I think you just put it in the microwave.
standard Tupperware, right? That you would probably store soup in at home. That's not really a vessel for eating. Because usually it's rectangular. I mean, they make circular ones, obviously, but they're not made as something you eat out of, particularly when it's like a stew, a soup, or a chili. So now you have to bring a separate bowl to work.
I had styrofoam bowls at work most of the time we worked there.
Small though, and
Very small.
And the problem there too is now because you can't microwave styrofoam. So now you can.
Okay.
You can.
Taking that note.
You can. It's just gross. Like it's not like foil that's going to catch on fire, but you can do it. But now I'm in this spot where I have to transfer my soup, chili, or stew. Do I do it before I heat it up? And I try to pour it out? It's just not practical. Like someone needs to come up with and I'm sure they're out there, a line of bowl of soup-sized Tupperware with lid. And then when you packed it up at night, you could parse it out into your separate servings and take that in.
I bet you could
And
buy
I'm
that.
fucked
on the
right now
internet.
at Dan's house. That's just because it'd be like if I tried to eat soup right here. That's about what my setup is like. It's good to do the show, but like there's no.
You don't have a lot of area.
It's just not. It's not good.
Yeah, I mean, I've always just thought that it was an odd decision to eat in the middle of the show.
Well, so I typically do it right before.
Yeah.
Like when we wrap up at 11:45 on the
I
phone.
need that energy.
Yeah, but also could get you a little burpy.
That's true.
But
So is eating in the middle of the show.
I very rarely eat in the middle. It's either right at the start or the shit is just too hectic and I'll eat at like 2:30 when things are starting to kind of wind down.
I just mean like during.
Yeah.
Like I don't mean literal middle.
Yeah, that typically
Eating while broadcasting, not ideal.
It's funny too because people have always complained about that and they're just like, well, why don't you just eat before or eat after? And I think you have to try to think about okay, so people know we're meeting at 11, right? And typically that's in a conference room with 4 other people. Like that's not a place you eat necessarily.
Neither is the studio.
I actually would say that's probably a little bit more you're spaced out. It's only 2 of you in there.
I would just eat at like 10:30.
See, and that's what I was getting to is that you would either have to eat pretty much at 10:30 or 4.
Yeah.
So
I'd probably do both.
A bit of a weird way to set your day up.
Not any weirder than all the other concessions that shift demands.
I mean, I think that's probably weirder than just eating in breaks.
No, I mean,
eating during a segment, I can guarantee you I've never done. I've
feel
certainly seen people do it.
It's not weirder, and also I just mean from like people's experiences are different on this, but I think that everyone is sensitive to it somewhat and may just not like be super aware of it. Just you do need that energy, like you need what the fruit is providing you in order to perform the job.
Well, yeah, but I mean, I usually by the time I get there at 10:30, I've already had like 2 meals. Like get up and have a pastrami protein shake at 6 a.m. and then have like big bag of nuts at 10.
Then you shouldn't have any problem getting through till 4.
That's still a long time. 8 to 4? 9 to 4?
You just said you were eating the nuts at 10.
Yeah, I mean, in that range. I mean, I try to consume food every 3 hours, but the point is it would be a lot easier if instead of peanut butter, chocolate, crispy, almond, mint, peppermint protein bar all in one, just give me one that tastes like thigh.
I don't know. This is not the focus this week. I can't believe you dragged me into talking about eating for this long. No, let's just start drive 1. First play wiped out by penalty. Second play, 65 yards to the house, Kyron Williams. That's just a regular outside zone. I think that you're going to see the baby Gronk and Liam Eichenberg are kind of the big contributors in that.
Have you watched this yet?
Watch this video. Okay.
So yeah, certainly you've heard about the Hunter hard drive.
Yes.
Have you watched any of the contents?
Well, Jenny was saying that someone was doing something bad and sending him to her when she didn't want to see him, which is fucked up, and I support her right to not be harassed online. But they were trying to harass her with a picture of Hunter Biden snorting coke, and I was like, well, I am
Doesn't
interested.
seem like harassment.
I am interested in that. Well, like the chick's naked. I think that he's naked.
You're about to find out.
But I'm just saying, like, sending it to a lady you don't know online.
I would say sending
sounds like harassment
a video
to
me. Anybody
me.
you don't know online is.
So
this is Hunter Biden. This is on his
allegedly
hard drive. It's allegedly Hunter Biden, and you're just going to skip past it. It's like 15 minutes long, so unless you're looking to whip it out, I don't think we have time.
I mean,
and I don't really know how this ended up
see it
online.
first.
I would imagine we may have to even black this out whenever we put this up. But it's Hunter. It's someone who is alleged to be Hunter Biden receiving a food.
What's this stuff?
Just fast forward. It's they do a little setup like that. They're releasing it so that they can harm the Biden campaign.
Who are these people?
Don't know. Don't care. The point is, I've never actually seen somebody get a foot job before.
I mean, they got a lot of videos of that.
And the first one I've ever seen is allegedly Hunter Biden. And I got to tell you, absolute hog.
Hunty?
Yeah. Now you can see here he's filming it, and he's getting a full-on. And I guess I never really knew exactly how they would do that. And it's more
probably
it's
varies,
like a scissor
right?
pose. Yeah, it probably did a lot of different ways, but that looks pretty efficient.
Yeah, not for me. No part of this is making me think.
Fast
that
forward
I
a
do
little
want it.
bit, and then
To what?
Whatever. There's a part where he's try like the middle. Oh yeah, here you go.
He's smoking crack.
He's smoking something.
So you don't so you're not comfortable with us putting it. I mean, I guess it get taken off YouTube anyways.
Yeah,
I don't know.
that's the thing. You don't want to put
What's
that
the
up
point
there.
of making these videos if we can't include the video part of it, dude?
Well, still got audio. Look, and now he's like wrapping her toes around. He's like, look, yeah, come on, look over here. This one goes over here. Now do this one down here. Now this one right
With
here.
one
at
hand,
the, ball.
the other hand is still holding a crack pipe.
That is absolute opulence.
Yeah.
This is just out there. We didn't know.
I feel like I did know.
I didn't know the video was out there.
Didn't need. Yeah, no, I don't know
Never
what to
really
think of the
thought
whole
I'd-
thing.
Never really thought I'd.
See Hunter getting a foot job?
I certainly never thought I would see anyone smoking
Crack while receiving a foot
yeah,
job.
that probably would have stayed off my bingo card forever.
Yeah, fair enough there. No, I mean, I don't know what to make of the whole hard drive thing. Like, there's some clear indications that there's real stuff on there.
Yeah. So
And I don't know that I have any indication other than general suspicion to indicate that there's any not real stuff on there.
I agree. I think it's frustrating.
The proof that it's real seems to me much stronger and more direct than the proof that it's not real.
Right, but does it actually implicate people like to the degree that
No,
people are saying it does? That I
I'm
think is
still
specious.
comfortable voting for Joe Biden.
Yeah, I mean, you would look past and you just stick to policy-wise, many other things. So I think that's a pretty small deal. And that's why I think
And I think I am still casting the vote for the least corrupt candidate. If I'm a corruption voter, I think that Joe Biden is comparatively okay with me.
Yeah. So it's frustrating, as we've talked about forever, because you'll hear people say like, well, the left, whenever Trump won in 2016. And I'm like, you don't know what the left is. No one on the left had a hard on for Russia. Like the center left, slight, probably more center. They cared. I never gave, dude. We barely ever talked about that shit.
Like people who the kind of person that would get mad about people caring about Russia. Well, I don't know, but I'm just saying Republicans are not making a real. They're never going to care about if you have ever voted Democrat, then you're the left.
Yeah, right.
You know, like these are only intra-party. Like they have different definitions in there, and they're never going to acknowledge your definitions, and that's okay. They have probably definitions that you don't want to get into. It's fine.
I agree, but to my larger point is just like I've heard a lot of this in the last few days of like, well, I mean, when Trump won in 2016, Democrats, the left, they were all saying it was stolen. I'm like, I don't remember thinking that at all. Oh, you were blaming it on Russia. No.
I mean,
I pretty well knew that they had run a very unpopular campaign.
The popular vote bothered me quite a bit.
Sure, but that's factual.
Yeah,
like that's just and that's more of an upset.
But
with
I would
the
have said, like,
than,
you know, I felt like it was stolen under those grounds. I mean, on the one hand, we agreed to these rules. Yeah, but I'm just saying they would like if the person was arguing and you stonewall them there, I think they'd probably move on to the next thing pretty quickly.
But just the idea of like missing ballots and it's stolen and it's not being counted properly. And
no, it's not the same thing.
You only won because of Russia and all this shit. Like it frustrates me when people are like. I almost feel like in a conversation with a family member or something, I'm probably going to hear, well, I mean, you thought that it was stolen in 2016? No. Well, I mean, you probably thought, well, I'll tell you, it was stolen in 2016 from Bernie.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you probably thought just, you know, you cared about Russia all the time. No.
Reveal a lot more harm to Bernie than any other candidate. Those
it's
emails.
Really incredible.
Yeah. The idea
it's
that
really incredible
throwing it for against Trump, not too much in the Podesta stuff there.
And who's the person you've heard complain about it the least?
That's right. It's because he's an honorable man.
So I don't know. I don't think I've brought this up to you yet, and there's a chance because you've taken to prefacing when you might be about to upset me.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to do that for you right now.
Well, if you could just continue to talk about the Notre Dame Clemson game,
You've got that, so I feel better about it now. And this is a possible betraying of confidence, although I checked with my shooter that I have everywhere.
Go ahead. I have no idea what this is.
Your jet ski content is phenomenal.
Fuck, dude, just get to it. What do you want?
Much like the time that you thought that you could probably cop a jet ski for
God damn it,
for
dude.
$200. You got ratted out for thinking that just with a possible oil change, you might have been pushing triple digits on the water.
Whatever. You're not going to get me to like fucking have this argument because I know, you know, whatever. You're tempted to get me to defend a position that I don't hold. So good luck with all that. But I'm just saying, it said 105 on the speedometer, and then it had a separate speedometer. So it's got two screens on it, right? I got to explain this stuff to you. You know, you don't understand PWCs to this level. So
I've been 160 on water before.
You got the left, but you weren't looking at the tachometer for that, dude. The left screen's giving you your speed, and the right screen it's a variable thing where you can have a timer, you can have the temperature, and you can have kilometers per hour on that screen.
Okay.
So I thought that if you were interested in kilometers per hour, you would just put it up on that screen. Why would you have a setting where you could put kilometers up on both screens?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
That's what I'm saying. So whenever I read the speedometer, I assume it's in miles per hour. But we gotten it worked on. And it was not in miles per hour. So the real number was lower than I thought it was.
So,
but I mean, this was like a 2-minute text conversation
well,
with
he thought
Justin.
It was funny, and so did I.
Where like I looked it up, then like 2 minutes later was like, you know, fucking okay, yeah, I guess it was kilometers per hour.
So explain this to me. Are you like? Do you think that in the tune-up that they replaced the speedometer?
What do you mean? No, it's a setting. Like right. I walked back out and put it back on miles per hour.
Okay. Do you have any idea how goddamn fast 105 on a jet ski?
I mean, if you've done 160, I think the 105 would be no trouble for me.
Well, obviously it was in a boat.
Yeah,
it was in a speedboat, and it was
jet
on
skis
glass.
Go faster than boats in general.
Yeah, but this was like the fastest boat on earth that Soroy guy took us on. And
it's one of the better jet skis. It's super high output, dude.
Do you know 105 on a jet ski? Like it probably tops out at 65. So
it felt like I was going fast. My PR MPH is 78. Okay, so respect it.
I'm not buying that.
You can buy it or not buy it.
I need video. You're capable of doing it now.
It's that one. It doesn't go 78 anymore. It's older.
I almost want to buy the same jet ski just to prove. Like, I'm certainly willing to concede they've come a long way in the last 20 years, but 105 is an insane. Like,
that jet ski can't go 105. Why are you attempting to argue this?
I think like 95% of the jet skis on the market can't touch 100.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, not even close.
I agree.
And I'm surprised to hear you say that one goes 78. Like,
Okay.
that's usually they're, see?
See, you thought I was talking about a high output when I made it clear earlier that it's super high output.
And it got a tune-up.
And it got a tune-up.
So,
yeah, no, I thought they might have fucked with the governor. That was a theory I worked through, but I
could
through
see
it.
myself convincing that they had removed a governor, mainly just because that was a concept that I heard a lot about when I was a kid. Go-kart.
Hell
Dude,
yeah.
His dad took the governor off.
You could go
so-
300 if you didn't have this fucking governor.
took the governor off. It's
Yeah.
like somebody who had a Ford Lightning.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, they removed the governor. Like, I don't have a clue what that actually means.
It's the same agency that gives the thumbs up, thumbs down to the Boston guitars.
It's just you're not ready for you got to keep the governor off.
We'll give you the car, but there's no way you could handle these
You're
speeds.
not ready.
A member of the general public? Could you imagine what they would do with that in their hands?
From the makers of his dad had to register his arms because they're deadly weapons. He had to get
Yeah.
a permit.
Yeah.
I saw probably top 3 weirdest documentary I've ever seen in my life the other day.
Okay.
I only have a brief moment for you on it.
Did we already watch it?
No.
Oh.
No, it's not Hunter. Do you know that I have like a slight obsession with the octopus?
Uh-huh. Is this just the octopus documentary again, or you watched the second octopus
I
documentary?
finished it actually.
Okay.
Last time, do you want me to tell you what happens
So
at the end?
back to even. Just
It-
want the record to
Pretty
reflect.
close. I think it's very long. Like, I want to say, well, I guess it's probably only an hour and a half, but last time I watched about the first 45 minutes and thought,
You did say you'd watch the first 45 minutes.
I finished it the other day and it was a long layoff in between.
Uh-huh.
And I know now that you're reminding me, and I guess we're pretty close to even now. I know that I was telling you that
Pretty close to even.
it was well, I don't think you remembered it when I told you that we talked about it.
Eventually.
And it was a week. This had to have been a couple
Time to
months.
come back. No.
I suspected that the man had a romantic interest in the octopus.
Uh-huh. Yeah. Because that was what the tweet was about.
He does not fuck the octopus.
I know that.
But so there's a really weird thing at the end, which I did not know about the octopus, which is that I think they have I always assumed they were one of these animals like turtles that you hear about that just lives forever.
I have thought that octopuses were hundreds of years old.
So to hear him tell it, and maybe this is a specific species, but it was extremely short, like 2 years. And for the female, it's lower because they basically die when they give birth.
Okay.
So towards the end, he's like fended a shark off from the octopus, which was pretty badass. Actually, he really more just watched it. But the coolest thing the octopus did the whole time, aside from rebuffing this human's advances sexually, like, is being chased by a shark in the reef and just collects rocks and shells and just balls up into almost like an armadillo style, like impenetrable fortress. And the shark is like, befuddled. And it was cool as shit.
That's awesome.
Shark leaves.
They got footage of all this?
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
So you know how that's like Kristen was saying that she thinks that a lot of the like hunting and chase scenes in nature documentaries are extremely stitched together.
Mm-hmm.
And I would generally agree.
Yeah.
But this is one guy in the water. And
So
he's
how much
following
stitching
the
could he
action.
do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's the same shark, clearly, and it's definitely the same octopus. He'll let you know that. So the shark leaves, and the next day or so, he goes back down there. They're frolicking. And dude, I'm talking like he's in the water with this octopus on his chest like it's a puppy or a 1-year-old. And he's just petting the octopus. And
That's tight.
it's pretty badass.
Yeah.
He goes back the next day.
Mm-hmm.
The very next day, because he says right there, and they keep cutting back to him in like the documentary style where you're
About to do a tough part here.
Yeah. And he says, and that was the last day that we ever had physical contact.
She's like, I got a
He
boyfriend.
goes back the next day and he's like, I could tell immediately something was not right. And I approached the den and there I see the other male octopus. And I'm like, you got fucking cucked!
It was. I got a boyfriend.
Cucked. You got cucked.
Yeah, I don't want to give you the wrong idea.
He's got his arm where he's like, yeah, we don't take too kindly to the human folk around here.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, that's it. My time here is done. But he keeps coming back, and he's like on the periphery for the next month or so.
Bested by a better man.
He's just kind of peering through the window, watching Ultimate Cuck style.
What are you guys doing?
Yeah.
You ever think about me?
Slowly dies because that's what they do. The female, and I think this happens a lot in nature. Like they mate, they give, and their process of giving birth is so arduous that they just die.
Yeah.
And they wither away. And she literally just started piece by piece, like falling off into the ocean. And he openly wept.
Oh, sure, yeah.
Which I felt like making fun of at first.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like a dog. Except like he met the second smartest animal on earth.
You gonna cry about your dog, you little bitch?
Probably.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Probably. And maybe the dumb animal it's easier to cry for. I don't know. I'm not sure. Like the dog doesn't really know what's going on for the most part. It doesn't have a temporal sense of its existence, Like I think the octopus, they bill it anyways as being smart enough that it
has a personal history.
Yeah, that it seems like it.
Yeah.
Whereas I don't know that the dog does. So, anyways, I had not seen the wife banged by neighbor while husband watches scene of my octopus teacher. And now I have.
Mm-hmm.
So I wanted to make sure you knew about it.
Yeah. No, it does sound like something. I watched The Witch again yesterday. Is that on your radar? You familiar with it?
I feel like you've told me about it.
I think I mentioned on the podcast whenever the guy, or I did a podcast about The Witch on the movie podcast whenever I saw it. But the dude who made it was doing an Ask Me Anything, and someone asked him something about it's set in pre-America, like colonial times, first pilgrims over kind of deal.
So it's a Salem thing.
A little bit, but not really.
I got to be honest. You could give me a 100-year window, and I bet I would miss it on that. It's got to be
on Salem
15, 16, but
yeah, I think it's got to be 15, 16. I would say 16, 17.
That would be wild.
I bet 16.
That would be wild. I think it's got to be 16 because it's got to be. Because it would be pretty disturbing if in the part of the country where we decided, let's found this thing.
No. I'm telling you, dude, that's where I'm going.
Okay, well.
I mean, possibly, maybe not, but I'm just saying, I'm just watching this. And so I'm by giving you the anecdote about the director, I'm trying to establish that this is a pretty serious attempt to portray what things were actually like at the time. So there's a note at the end of the movie that most of the dialogue, who knows how much exactly, was lifted from period sources.
Journals and such.
Yeah. And, any time that people would be like, there was a fucking witch in the village, to the extent that they had the ability to document what was going on, that was worth documenting.
Yeah.
And so there was an AMA where someone asked him something about the period accuracy of it. And he just cut and pasted a list of 50, his 50 things that bothered him. And it was well, in this scene, the shirt she's wearing, that kind of thread was a technique that wasn't invented until about 10 years after the movie. But I'm saying that this is a man who has gone to an incredible length to portray things as to the best extent that we can give you what it was like during these times. He is giving it to you, and you just watch it, and the incredible trauma introduced every single second of every single day into these people's lives. that's one way, but there's a lot of ones. But that's one way that like they are not really living on the same earth that we lived on in any kind of real sense.
Yeah.
Like we can see like the small change of things over time and like properly slot that in our head, like the move from boxy cell phones that you could only have in cars to ones you could carry to the ones that we have now. Like that's the kind of pace of change that we can properly appreciate. But like there's a much larger pace of change that like you can't really square. And I don't know. There's probably a lot that you can do with those thoughts, and like I would encourage everyone to think on it some more. But certainly a thought I did is like, y'all listen to these guys' Constitution.
Yeah,
like, now
you can tell where I was going earlier.
Yeah,
yeah, dude, originalism. You gotta stick to the guns. Like you, like 50 years earlier, you were putting people in vats of boiling water to determine the degree to which they were a witch.
And I mean, the witch stuff, certainly. But like, even without it, just the father, so the family gets cast out because they have religious disagreements with the village. And then like
always a village.
They're alone in the, like they've, in America, like on the continent they're standing on, there's no one willing to like associate with them really. Like he trades with Indians at one point, but like that's it. And so it's you're just scratching out. You're living as best you can, and so it's just the dad also trying to teach the son about their religion because it's a religion. Like he felt so strongly about his religion that he got cast out of. They call it the plantation, and like just as we're all well aware, it's a very like cruel and unforgiving religion. It's constant, like, you are sin kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And, I don't know that there was, I don't think Justin Bieber's pastor had an analog back then, of like the guy being like, it's all God's love, man.
Yeah.
It was just the people who'd be like, you're an awful, like just giant piece of shit. And if you cannot be a piece of shit for 1 second, that's just the grace of God, like nothing else, dude. Because
joyless,
you are terrible, and like I can't see a way to how you would have Justin Bieber's preacher because, like, that's the message that is constantly being sent to you by your environment. Like nature is telling you, like nothing comes easy. Like most of the people died like really really young. Like they died in horrible ways. Like just this catastrophic losses that you have to deal with all
You've almost
the time.
Certainly lost a child.
Yeah. Oh, as a given. And it doesn't seem any easier, Yeah. Like you would think that the commonness of the experience would blunt it some, but that's not what's being portrayed in the film, I can say with certainty. And it just strikes me that like those, like, I don't mean this in like as a preface to genocide or something, but like those people are not humans in the way that we understand humans, like I don't know that scientifically that there's something so different, but like your environment has some effect on you. The environment was so drastically more violent and unforgiving than ours that like, like the most, like I just, if one of them, like the best suited person in that time would have been regarded as like a terribly traumatized person now. And, just back to the themes that we've been discussing through a couple episodes here, like Trump wanting to destroy all of Obama's accomplishments because he felt bad that Obama made fun of him in that room. Mm-hmm. Like hurt people, like, mm-hmm. And you're talking about an entire society where necessarily every single one of them is a deeply hurt person. I don't know. I'm
going to spin it for you.
Yeah.
Doesn't that make the fact that there's anything remotely redeeming in the Constitution that much more impressive?
It really is. Like, yeah.
You, guy who is always dirty, your fucking fingernails are all nasty, probably don't even have all 10. Lost a couple kids. Your wife is certainly gone in child. I don't think we should have to keep these troops at our house if we don't want to. Like, why would the fact that you have the grace to come up with that? And I think trials should not be long.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
all of my fruit is rotten. Like
Yeah.
I haven't had a solid stool in my entire life.
Yeah, but he's worried about the fucking mechanics of trials. God bless him.
That's actually more impressive.
Yeah. No, and, I like this is like very earliest colonial times.
Yeah, but it's only about 200 years apart, though. 150 years apart.
Yeah, but I would think that in 1776 there were parts of the country that were experiencing exactly that.
Yeah, for sure.
But I'm just saying, by the time, like, Ben Franklin was living in a city that probably looked a lot. Yeah, I mean, there's buildings of it still standing.
Right.
Um,
This is interesting though because Dan reminded me of something the other day. Whenever I was initially obviously very against the idea of watching Game of Thrones, and I remember the dragon thing, but Dan was like, didn't you also have some sort of hang up on watching shows where it looks like most of it takes place in the woods? And I was like, yes.
Yeah.
And this is a violation of your computer law. Unless they had,
no, you're right. Yeah, no, it
kick-ass
definitely is.
MacBooks.
It just, it seemed like an interesting enough whole deal. And, I like horror movies, but that I definitely felt like it was on similar ground to my one other non-computers movie, Silence. Of just like religion is very interesting if you go back several hundred years. Like, just the like the actual Christian experience in Jesus's time is like an incredibly fucking metal story. Like, of course.
Yeah. One of the most.
And then, like the ways in which that like fucking echoed through time where like, a lot of people either intentionally or not intentionally like experience that for themselves, of like the persecution and the being tested and all that stuff,
Well, as a guy who just reviewed Armageddon and watched it for the 100th time, I will tell you that Harry Stamper is a Christ story. It absolutely is.
Yeah,
I will go.
Yeah. No, of course
I will go. My son will live.
Yeah.
I will save the world.
That's right.
Because it's my time. I was sent here to do this. It might be the best Christ-like representation.
Are you going to start going to church?
In history of text. No, but that's another thing I was just thinking just now is...
Going to church?
No, but as much as like I bag on, my upbringing in the church, because I do think, it's all the stuff we've talked about, and I'm sort of staring it down with the kid right now and how we're going to handle all that. But in hindsight, and really in the moment mostly, I did not enjoy it.
Mm-hmm.
There were small pockets of time where I would get swept up in it. That's what camps are for, big time. So they can wall you off.
Yeah.
Make a play. But it's almost like you almost have to give credit to whatever it probably isn't until like the 80s, maybe even the 90s, like the concept that church could be fun. Like that has to be relatively new. And like we joke about the mega church and Creflo Dollar having a fucking G6 or whatever. And I'm not saying you need all that. And maybe they come together, it comes with the dinner type thing, but that, we're really living through the only period in time where church was not exactly as you described it a minute ago.
Yeah.
Where they gave you a kick-ass Stratocaster and a double bass drum and, turned it into the Grammys. And that's not the part of church I didn't like back then. I liked the worship part.
I went to school with plenty of people whose parents remembered the other way and had instilled in them the idea that anything else was like pretty wrong.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know. I kind of like their energy. I don't know that I'd be able to mount a real vigorous, I do not believe that modern drums are the work of Satan.
No.
But I,
well,
it does seem like they're more serious than the rest of the people.
And
like those fucking drum guys say they're about it. I don't know. It seems like these guys are about it.
No, I know what you mean. And I think it's an easier sell, which is
the
weird.
jean skirt folks are about it.
Yeah. Yeah, your University of Dallas brethren.
Ankle-length jean skirts, yeah.
Because it's an easier sell, and we're delving way into something that we know nothing about, philosophically. But in a weird end around, you would think it would be an easier sell to be like, look, we have cool lights and we're not going to make you feel bad the whole time you're here. But I think it's actually probably an easier sell that, they just want the easy way. Like, this is a religion. It's not supposed to be easy. The whole message here is that it's going to be hard and that it's worth it. So the jean skirts and the, extremely boring services are actually you're actually living a more Christ-like
sacrifice.
Right.
Yeah, of course. Like, he didn't want to die, dude. Like on some level he did, but like he didn't. Think about it.
I was thinking about this too. As we get into the age of, obviously with a lot of daycares are set up to be religious, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is something we've talked about a lot over the years, you and I personally, and both recorded and not recorded. It's a little bit weird to me that it's so easy for people to comprehend the idea that we have a different criminal justice system, or at least it's codified differently for people that are below a certain age, which is a pretty obvious understanding that we realize there's things that their brain can't understand. There's morality that they're not developed enough to understand. Their actions, there are things going on up there. Almost no one would tell you that they want to put an 11-year-old to death if they killed somebody. Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are people, but you could probably get about a 90% consensus, 95% in the country.
Yeah.
But whenever you try to sell someone on the idea that we should not be talking to small children about existential philosophical questions like heaven and hell, or really death, or salvation, or any of those things, like, people look at you like you're an alien. And I guess it's just one of those, we've just always done it that way, so it's not weird to people. But
it's also, obviously some amount of strategic to it.
Yeah, get a verbal commitment before their sophomore year, and you can lock your quarterback in.
Probably not going to be ideas that that are going to seem obvious to them if you only introduce them when they're 18.
That's very true. That's very true. And people would also think you were crazy if people would think you were absolutely nuts if they found out that you were taking your kid to a school where they were not religious, but where they were actively planting anti-religious ideas in the kid's head.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that probably doesn't exist.
Yeah, I don't know that it needs to.
Right, but
I don't know.
It's the flip side of something that everyone accepts as normal.
Yeah.
Like, if the...
No, dude, yeah, religious schools are weird.
But even the very light one, and just like, even if it's not religious schools, just the concept of a youth group, which in a sense it could just be like babysitting for parents who want to go to worship, but they don't do that. They don't babysit you. They start to talk to you about things that you're in no position to understand.
Yeah, the daycare I went to was in a church, but it was not a church of the religion that I belonged to, and I can't recall a single time that a teacher mentioned anything about anything.
Yeah, and I think that's how most of them are. Yeah. But just the idea of introducing these concepts to children, it just struck me the other day as odd that it's like, I was thinking, all right, well, what are some other areas where we definitely understand? Oh yeah, like the main one, the law. Mm-hmm. We all pretty well agree on that.
Yeah, no, that's it. I agree. I hadn't thought about it that way, but yeah, they're capable of making distinctions there that they don't seem interested in religious education.
Are you ready for the in our last moments here? The
last moments?
How long have we been going?
It's like 45 minutes.
Oh, okay. This might take at least
another 45 to go. You haven't even gotten to the second drive.
For anyone who thought that you were just going to have like the end of your headache a few days ago, like, I don't know when it ends, but the vaccine thing, man. Like, we've now rolled on to fighting over, hey, look, this was released at a pretty suspicious time. And I got to be honest.
I also, yeah.
I got to be honest. It don't look good. However, I will tell you that...
what are you going to do about it, motherfuckers? But, yeah.
Well, so my next thought was...
I would have given it a little longer.
What's the date where it would, right? Have you thought that?
If I were rigging it, I would have given it longer.
Right. Right. Miss a couple questions here.
Yeah.
Let's aim for a 91,
Yeah.
not 100. So
First business day after the race is called seems,
what would have been a good date?
I mean, more. I just know I needed more to feel sure.
And it's complicated too because I've heard the Daily talk about this a few times where they interviewed the lead lady on the German team a couple times.
Okay.
And it's really confusing because I don't understand how this stuff works. So I was hitting Justin up about it this morning. Like, how much credit does the Trump administration deserve for this? Because it seems weird to me on its face that, okay, this vaccine, at least the one that we're hearing about right now, the Pfizer one, was not developed by the Trump administration or even funded. They gave them no money. Only Germany did. However, they bought $2 billion of it in advance, which certainly helps you keep going. And the AstraZeneca, and I can't remember what the other one is.
Like, if somehow the U.S. government ceased to be, would this all have happened in the exact same way? I think the pretty clear answer is no.
I don't know. I think they probably still would have developed this one. They just would have had no market for it to the tune of being able to churn it out as quickly as they're going to be able to.
Yeah, I'm not saying they never would have came up with a vaccine, but it would take longer.
Right. I mean,
if they didn't need those resources, they wouldn't have accepted the resources. They needed those resources.
Right. I don't know if what I'm saying is I don't know if they needed it to get it to this point. Like, I don't know if they needed the American money to get it just to the point where they've hit the threshold of positives.
Yeah, I don't know.
Out of the 40,000 people. And that's why Pfizer has gone like out of their way to be like, yeah, we weren't associated with on the development side with Warp Speed at all. And they come back the next day and they're like, but we certainly are excited to sell, and excited to take their money. But okay, so on one hand we have, I'm not really sure exactly how much credit the American government deserves for this one in particular, but we're going to need more than one. So it doesn't matter because those other two that the Americans did fund are going to happen.
I'm going to take all three.
Cocktail it up.
Yeah.
Throw in a little liqueur or something, a little Long Island.
Lemon juice.
The part that initially made no sense to me was that on one hand, you had people saying, we have to be so thankful and grateful to the president and his administration for getting this done. And I think it's a little bit fishy that it's coming out now a week later. My first thought was, motherfucker, if I developed something that could have saved my ass, I am releasing it right at the time I needed to save my ass. Like, I'm not going to wait until a week later and be like, oh, thank me now, but I guess I'm already out. That doesn't make any sense to me.
What are you saying?
What I'm saying is those are contradictory ideas. The people that are like, yeah, Mike Pence, you're right. This is entirely because of Trump and because of the Americans and because of the administration are also the same people that are like, boy, I feel like this information is being released late to kneecap Trump and his election opportunities. But it's like, yeah, if it was all up to him and he deserved all the credit, you can be pretty sure that he also would have made sure that the information was out in time to.
I don't think that's accurate. I think that the government, makes this funding deal, but that doesn't mean like they control Pfizer.
No, but you would think that 1 week, 6 days later, they could have, like beforehand, they could have been like, "You got any news? Anything
are you kidding me? I'm positive that they were like hitting him up constantly, being like, "Hey, I don't give a shit what you got. Release your goddamn press release."
And I think there was one thing they did where the FDA asked them maybe a month or so ago to change the number that they were looking at that they needed to have as the positive threshold before they could consider it, having achieved efficacy. But I don't know. It just seems like you might have a little birdie hum in your ear and be like, "Hey, you can say it. We're gonna have it, and we're gonna have it by the end of the year." So I don't know. I don't know if that would have. I bet it probably would have swayed the election.
I don't know.
A little bit.
Depends on when, because if you're talking about like on Monday they said it, most people had voted by then.
Yeah, but even if we went back 2 weeks, we're only talking about a 3-week discrepancy between like the best news America has had in 9 months. And
I'm not doing anything until when I can go to my doctor and get one. That's the best news I've received.
No, I agree.
The idea that at some point I might, well, that's about where I've been the whole time.
And I want to be clear too that after talking to him and reading some other stuff, they do deserve some credit for this because just having more
Government?
of having more of them
agree.
in the pipeline, but those are not to the point where they could have, released any news on it.
I mean, it's the U.S. government. Like, it would be crazy if they didn't do something.
Well, that's what's interesting is that I think Pfizer and these other two companies have a different idea on the strings they wanted attached to taking money. And I don't think Germany asked for much in the way of strings at all.
Yeah.
And the other, I think Merck maybe.
If you're telling me that other countries did it better, I believe you.
I don't know if they did it better. They just didn't really care about having as many hands involved. And we've got to be involved in this as America did with their other two clinical trials.
Yeah.
And they seemingly kind of just got unlucky.
Yeah.
You had a 2 in 3 chance.
Yeah.
At least for the 3 leading ones.
So, talking about a little bit more election stuff, I think that it seems like one of the large questions to emerge is why there were so many more Republican voters than 2016, right? That Biden was able to produce extra Democrats at a faster rate or at a greater rate than Trump was able to produce extra Republicans. But he produced just a shit ton of extra Republicans comparatively, which, the average person that we know would not have expected that. And I have a thought on it that's probably pretty simplistic, but I don't feel like I see other folks talking about it. And maybe because it's too dumb and they don't want to look dumb for talking about it, but I also think it's true. So I think one of the biggest things, and this is partly supported by a 538 article, but I think it's also supported by common sense, and that's what I'm built on.
538, which I heard was named after the number of votes that separated.
It is crazy that it was one number off.
Yeah.
It's 537.
But it's also crazy that someone with 1 million followers is just like, let it rock. And then you don't delete?
I don't have a high degree of trust in her regardless.
I don't know much about Joy Reid.
The homophobic blog post thing. She's been blogging for a long time. Some of those, back a long time ago, did not appear to have an attitude about homosexuals that she currently holds. And whenever confronted with that, she was like, well, I think this is a clear case of hacking.
Okay.
And then MSNBC was like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it was. Anyway, she's still employed.
Wow. Well, but with takes like this, how could you run away from her?
The blog post thing, I don't know. I don't really want to get bogged down in the content of the posts.
She wasn't 17.
She wasn't 17, but it's also not like, we should grind them up and exterminate them or anything,
the Trumpets.
Yeah.
I don't know why we're talking about it in front of this guy. He wants to electrocute all of them or whatever it was.
No, she wasn't
cool, but
Mike Pence level hatred towards homosexuals, but it's just the clearly wasn't a hacker. The fact that she thinks she can look at me with a straight face and be like, it was a hacker.
Yeah. Who's somehow copied my years of syntax.
I find that offensive. So that really hurt her standing in my eyes, to be honest. But no, I think that the average marginal voter, the average person who might vote sometimes, is thinking about it but isn't really engaged. I think one of the most common things you hear whenever you ask them about their decision making there is it's not going to come down to my vote anyways. This whole thing is happening more or less outside of me, and it doesn't need me, so I'm not going to participate. And that's even more so with something like voting for, a candidate who feels like they're not going to win. I think there was a lot of people who didn't vote for Bernie at certain points in the primary because, there's probably even points in 2020 that there was some people who were like, well, I do love the ideas, but he doesn't have a chance. I've never seen anyone like that get elected in my life.
I mean, I definitely pulled that move in 2016.
Yeah. So I think that's a common thing for like the kinds of people who make up a large part of the electorate. That's a consideration they're making. And if you will recall, I know you can because you lived through it. The entire world was 100% sure that Donald Trump had no chance.
Mm-hmm.
He was about Bernie level, like, he was one of the two major candidates, but like everyone listening to me, we don't have any 4-year-olds listening to the podcast. So you all can recall back to what it was like then. The public has never been more certain about a thing in their entire lives. So I think a lot of people were like, he's got some good points, but I'm not going to take time out of my day so he loses by a little less. And then they find out, in fact, it is quite possible that he could do that. And they're like, well, fuck, I got to keep him in office. Like, yeah, now I know it's real. He could need me, and showed up. What do you think?
It's just a bandwagon effect, basically.
Yeah. Nate Silver doesn't know about it, but I've kind of cracked the code.
Yeah, no, I think you should probably replace Joy Reid. Is it just Joy Reid?
I think it's Joyanne Reid.
Joyanne.
Morning Joy.
Joyanne.
Joyanne.
Joyanne Reid.
2 N's.
I think that's a pretty interesting theory. I mean,
in Anne.
I think it might be 2.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't done I've kind of done the attempt to decompress on actual election coverage. Because I do think exit polls are really interesting.
Okay.
Well, maybe not.
What a statement.
Exit poll. Oh, I think it's interesting. Exit polls, or let's just say this. Maybe not as much exit polls, but I like the even state by state looking at the breakdown of several different demographic factors and how that broke down, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like the obvious ones are, race, gender, age, income level, but there's lots of other stuff that I think is like, I mean, when I saw in on Hell Week, which was pretty shocking. Heck, we talked about this a couple weeks ago. Just the graphic of ranking your important issues, like by Red v. Blue, like it was like 72% economy for Republicans, and then they literally had the gall to put like 3% racism at the bottom or racial justice. And for Democrats, it was pretty evenly dispersed, and coronavirus was number 1. And so I think stuff like that is interesting.
My number 1 is the transgender bathroom thing.
Mine is wrestling at the high school level.
Yeah, high school wrestling.
Actually,
Jesus
no.
Jesus fucking Christ, these people, Jake.
It's just, we're doomed too. I don't know if you've noticed, but if you've kept track at all of not of election stuff, but of transition team.
Mac Beggs' wrestling career?
No, in the cabinet. I just mean, I don't think a new day has dawned. Like I read that AOC interview on Sunday, and she's like, I don't really know what else you need to see. Like, people of color just voted 95% or whatever it was Democratic in Detroit. Largely were responsible for flipping Georgia and possibly taking another Senate seat. And you're over here fucking talking to me about John Kasich? Like, I don't want to hear about John Kasich right now. Like, I don't want to hear about but that's absolutely who's going to fill that cabinet out. So,
wait and see. I'm not willing to get depressed about it before it happens, dude.
My number 1 issue, though, and I wish I could claim this as my own, but there's like literally a Twitter account that exists for it, is the Third Amendment.
Okay.
Yeah, like there's an account that every single debate, they would just like, why is no one talking about the possibility of a new Supreme Court justice forcing me to quarter a troop? Like, yet another day passes in this election cycle and no comments from any of our elected officials on the possible overturning of the Third Amendment.
I won't do it.
No, kicking and screaming. You can take my freedom of speech, press, religion, assembly. Take it all. I'm not letting some 22-year-old Marines.
Private First Class Smith is going to sleep in the fucking backyard if I have anything to say about it.
No, because I can see my wife and she looks excited. So I'm not doing it. All right, that's all I got, TC.
I got more things, Jake.
Okay.
I want to tell you about. So yesterday, took the kid to the park, right?
Park Dad.
And I went. We have an amazing bounty of parks. This might be one of the most park-rich areas in the United States. And so I take her to the closest park because we're getting a little bit of a time crunch, and she gets mad if she has to leave the park early. So we're trying to maximize park time.
Mm-hmm.
But that park is full on the swings. There's really only one swing there that's the kind of swing that she uses. And so it's probably going to be a while before we can get on that swing. I don't know if she's going to take that well. I say there's another park right there. Let's keep on driving. And I actually was going to a different park and found there was a park even closer that I'd never heard of. Like, I Google the parks and it never come up. So I don't know.
Poor PR from this park.
Yeah, but stunning. Like, I mean, it was literally across the street. Like, one was on one side of Royal, the other one's on the other side of Royal. Like, yeah, it seems foolish to even clarify that you could walk because it's so obvious you could walk. But anyways, great situation. Number of parks. So, all parks are kind of like they usually like kind of dig out and then put the wood chips. So the wood chips are a little lower than the rest of the surrounding basin. And this was, had some elevation. Most of these parks are built along that creek, so there's some topography going on anyways. And then they had shrubs kind of around the top side of the park. So as we're approaching the park, can't really see it, is what I'm trying to demonstrate.
It's like what was the in Land Before Time?
The Gully?
No.
That's Fern Gully.
Yeah, but in Land Before Time, they had, they're like Oasis. It's a great shot. The first time they can't see it, and then they just get there, and it's glorious.
Yeah.
I love those movies, by the way.
Shouldn't have had as many of them because we should have had more time for extra Gremlins. That's how I feel.
I saw that pitch coming,
I know
and
you did.
I paused. I didn't.
But anyways, so we're walking up to this park, and I'm just eyeing those swings, see how many we got open. And in fact, it looks to me like we've got the entire park empty, which is a fucking bounty and a half, Like, I hate seeing other people. Like, getting a little solo park time with the kid, that is awesome. So I'm getting excited. Then I turn the corner from the shrubs, and there's just a skinhead sitting there. Like, man with an entirely shaved head and tattoos on the rest of his body. And he like kind of gets up and starts like just doing crunches on like their pull-ups on the monkey bars.
Wow. So there was a reason possibly why this park was uninhabited. You might not have been the first.
Might not have
who
been.
turned the corner and thought,
who knows?
Okay, it's core day.
And I mean, like I said, it's like
Kyle.
It's like Royal and Marsh. Like, this is not like a place where you would think it's incredibly possible that it would be a skinhead workout spot.
Do you?
And I mean, I've had. Is it fair to call him a skinhead?
I was going to say that's a little.
I mean, like, he had like the literal look, but I wasn't examining his tattoos. I don't know the content of them.
Yeah, it could have been like past the Green New Deal.
Yeah, Dead Kennedy's guy maybe more is what I was thinking along the lines of. That seemed plausible enough. And there was like a good 10 minutes in, because like I said, we're on a time crunch. I just played at that park, dude.
Yeah.
And
about two of you, one of him.
Yeah, I guess
Stomp
so.
out if you need to.
I guess so. But like probably like 10 minutes in, she's like walking by him or something. He's like, "How are y'all two doing?" I was like, "Pretty good. How about you?" And he's like, working up a sweat, something like that.
Yeah.
It was fine. I'm not really here to like complain or say that something must be done.
It's just a little shocking.
His taxpayer dollars pay for that park as much as mine. But yeah, it never really occurred to me that I was going to face a solo adult in the park because it seemed like an interesting workout spot.
Great Valley, by the way.
Yeah.
Do you think that if you have ever been to prison, making a lot of assumptions here, do you think that when you get out, if you just, first of all, how many do you think continue to work out like they do in prison?
0.
0?
Nah, more than 0, but less than 100.
Because I know, like,
by a lot.
I think TV and movies would make you think that people in prison are a lot more ripped than they actually are.
Probably.
But my question was going to be for those that do continue to work
Not a
out,
lot of protein shakes in prison.
right? Do you think that they ever go to a real gym, or are they just like, I only know this way now?
Yeah, it's a fine question.
Like I only know monkey
I-
bars and push-ups on. I know they have benches in prison and stuff like that, but still, you're doing a lot of body weight and a lot of bars.
I think that probably what you're doing the entire time is being like, I can't wait till I get around the advanced machinery of a 24-hour.
Yeah, I'd love to get a little rear delt.
Yeah.
Fly machine. Goes both ways. Love that. Yeah, I heard they got these air runners out here now. I
That's
don't know,
my
dude.
experience is that we were just sitting around. Like, it's not like any of it, like, it doesn't acclimate, dude. Like, I don't know, in ways, but like, it's not like if you're just denied, like, I love cake. If you didn't let me eat cake for 20 years, at the end of that 20 years, like, I would just fucking run to go get that cake. It's not like my body would acclimate and be like, yeah, we don't even need cake anymore.
Yeah, but there might be a lot of guys who get fit in prison who have literally never gone to a real gym before.
But I'm saying I think they would love it.
They
Like,
might not
for that
know.
reason, they would love it.
And I'll add this on and say they might walk in there and be like, this is fussy as hell. Like, look at all this bullshit. You don't need all this stuff.
That's quite possible.
Like, look how I got like this using
Well,
this.
not that. I just more mean like the culture. The culture
Yeah,
might
just
bother
like,
them.
oh, I gotta wait.
Yeah,
You gotta wait. Like,
all
I
the
can't
various
stab
pieces
somebody.
of etiquette.
Right. If they're on my shit, I can't just walk over and fight them.
This guy wants to be a fit lawyer, so now I gotta fucking wait around with this
Did you
bullshit.
just ask me if I need personal training sessions?
How about you answer that question for yourself?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's I don't know, but I bet you're right. Most just lose it.
Yeah,
They lose the fit.
yeah, and then last thing, and we're kind of reaching the end, so it's probably going to spark a long conversation. But obviously, I don't really like Joe Biden, to be honest. And so, I'm looking at this whole thing and like, the fact that Democrats have such a narrow path to the Senate means that all of the things that Joe Biden was going to do that I might have liked are probably not going to happen. And so I don't know. I look around and I'm not happy. So whenever I see all these other people happy, my first instinct is like, boy, I don't think they really get it. But I don't know. And I figure that's what everyone assumes is the stance of this podcast. And I just wanted to say that over the weekend, like I was, it's started there, but then like the more I just kind of saw how excited some people were, like whatever they called the race, my dad cried.
Yeah, no, I mean,
And I kind of think that's nuts, but I also like
you would have cried if Bernie won.
Oh hell yeah, but he didn't, dude.
I know. I'm just saying, and it's a little different because yours is more tied up in policy than in personality, and something that's a little more tangible than something that's soft idea. But still, it is emoting over a result of an election.
I think that these people are being happy for reasons that I feel like if I was in the mood to be a negative person, could have a decent shot at talking them out of. But like,
I haven't had one thought of that, dude.
what?
I know. Just even being like killjoy guy, like I just haven't.
No, I haven't done it at all. But I'm just saying, like, this is, in my opinion, this is not something to have like unqualified joy over. Like, not close. Like, that does not reflect the reality of the situation. But what I'm here to say, like, I feel like that's what everyone already probably could tell that we thought. But I was like looking, just looking at, I don't know, just like people being happy means a lot to me, Like I want everyone to be happy, and like it's hearing from some of our friends about what a big deal it meant to them. Like again, my first reaction is that's not my experience, but like I do have a second reaction that's like, man, if it's for like that reason or another reason, like entirely unrelated to politics, if people around me are saying they feel like there's a weight off their shoulders, like that's just great. That's great fucking news. So
And I'm think
happy.
It also goes back to our, in a lot of ways, this does not affect you and I as much as it does a lot of other people. And
Yeah,
and I mean on like actual whether it comes down
it's
to
not like our friends are wondering if they're going to the gulags or not.
No, but
certainly
I mean
my dad's probably. He kept on saying like he doesn't think he could have made it another 4 years.
Well,
So,
I
like,
mean but let's just like on the base level say that I do think that there is an argument to be made, and I'm sure there's research out there on this that I have not digested. But it does seem to me like racial animosity has been more out in the open for the past 4 years.
Oh yeah.
So let's just start with the fact that if you're not white,
Yeah.
you may have a possible, even if it's,
But I'm only talking about whites.
Even if it's completely unrelated to policy, if we're just talking about, again, the soft attitudinal stuff, it's not that hard of a sell to me to say you're probably going to have an easier time.
Yeah.
That's the first thing. The second thing is, thinking about people that aren't you. The degree to which people do that is different for everyone. I might do it too much because it bums me out. That's why I say don't do it as much. And the other thing is just, it strikes me that it's a bit odd, and this may turn quick. I don't really feel like over the last 4 years that most people who were supporters of the president were like that happy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know they got what they got ideally the first time that.
No, I know what happy people look like.
Yeah. And,
Yeah.
they took Roseanne.
I know, dude. Yeah.
They've had a lot of deeply seated, not only animosity, but beliefs that kind of finally had the main stage. And I think a lot of them, probably not even a majority, but a lot bit down and took it as far as dealing with him. I think back to like that Liz Brunig piece when she came down here and wrote about evangelicals and Trump. Like, look, we don't like the guy, but we've really never had anybody that talks about the stuff or that we think will protect the stuff that we actually believe in. But for the most part, I feel like it was just like a constant battle, not happy. And the people who are against the president, whether they're center or full on left, are not happy unless you were able to possibly like churn it out into comedy and play audio of him talking about Geico ads and pizza.
Yeah, it's all right.
But I think there's a better chance now that some people who are super stoked on Trump will just be like, you know what? I'm detaching from this. And for at least a little while that the people that are supporters of the president, or at least sort of supporters, will actually experience some level of joy. Because if nothing else, they're just not going to have people yelling at them all the time. Be it on TV, in speeches, like. And honestly, I don't know if Bernie won, that it would have elicited the same experience. I definitely think it would have been better from a health of the country, future of the country standpoint, but I feel like that could have gotten that might have not. I don't know if your dad cries, and I think there's more your dads than there are you if Bernie wins.
Yeah, I think so. I think it was just the Trump thing, dude.
And you know what? Maybe that's all it is.
Yeah.
Maybe that's all it is.
I mean, everyone that I've heard from voice things like that. It's not about like excitement around Biden. Like it's the
But you might
Trump
temper that
side.
with like, all right, am I just going from one demagogue to another? Am I just going from one guy whose policies I can't stand over here to another guy's whose
Nah, my dad
policies-
don't hate Bernie, dude.
Well, I mean, a lot of liberal people
Yeah,
in their
no,
60s
some people
who-
would.
Yeah.
But I mean, some people hate every candidate.
This is where exit polling rocks.
Exit polling doesn't rock for anything. And then, yeah, dude, I'll say this and sign off, but I just didn't think it was coming, dude. I thought we were going to be in the wilderness for the rest of my life.
Look, I'm happy.
And now here we are.
I'm happy for you.
We beat
At this
number
point,
one.
I hope they make a run. Because you're already insufferable about
and
it, so
maybe
you might
they
as well
will.
get the full joy.
Maybe they will, maybe they won't. It doesn't matter. Because that's the great thing about this sport. Like, I love college football because these games matter. Like, the playoff changes the calculus some, which, I don't know, it does bum me out a little bit. I still like the playoff on net. But, like, it used to be, like, in their championship run, the last one, I don't care
This
about
is
the
way
game
too
against
much,
West Virginia.
more than-
Who cares about the game against West Virginia? It's the win against Miami that's the big deal. This is the fucking Miami win, dude. It's exactly the Miami one. It's number one, came to our town, and we fucking sent him out with an L, dude.
And no talk of super spreading?
Who cares?
Not the president. Not the president of the university.
He sent out an email, and
Oh,
I'm
I
like,
saw.
boy, that's it takes some balls.
You know, we have Google, right?
Yeah.
This Rose Garden thing. It's perfect.
Yeah.
Good luck.
All right. Yep.
That's it for tonight. The high school special is next, so until tomorrow, for everyone who's been a part of this one,
I'm TC and Jake.
we do thank you for watching. Good night.